Here's where you're gonna learn what it takes to be a real mafioso.
Hey everyone, not a pro LCS player here, and it's been a couple months since League's overwhelming item and shop rework. Now I'm sure many people have talked about the gameplay implications of these new items to death, but I wouldn't know or care about any of that. Instead, I'm here today to talk about the visuals and artistic design of the new UI and items. Just to be clear, I'm a garbage artist, but as your typical League player and digital artist enjoyer, I'd like to think that I have some say on the matter. The new UI and items will be judged on two primary criteria: readability and design. Readability is the more objective opinion of the two, dealing with how easy the item is to identify based on its visuals and name. Design is significantly more opinionated, but considering the humble brag I just gave, I basically get to say whatever I want. Anyways, let's go. To begin, let's start off looking at the initial formatting of the new shop. At the top, you have your item categories. All items is the only one that really matters here, unless you're a weirdo that plays League on a television screen. This all items category is now divided up depending on champion type. This works for most cases. However, if you're a fighter that wants to start building tank, it's a bit jarring to have to jump to a whole another category just to find the one item you're looking for. Also, for those longing for the nostalgic phone book design of purely all items, there's a category for that too. On the left side of the shop is some irrelevant information, and then even further to the left is what I would argue is the best change to the shop's UI. There are now dedicated tabs for consumables, trinkets, and boots. These tabs are always accessible and are easy to navigate. Your inventory now resides in this small tab in the bottom left of the shop, and requires you to hover over it and click your items to sell them. Being accustomed to selling items directly from my inventory made this change feel a little bit uncomfortable at first, but you rarely have to sell items anyways, so it's not that much of a problem. Now that we've had a quick run through with League's new shop, let's talk design, starting with the consumables and trinkets. These items are among the most easily recognizable from their previous counterparts and are very easy to read. No complaints here. Most boots have simply received a facelift, however 3 stand out: Ionian boots, tabbies, now plated steel caps, and Sork boots. At first I found myself uncomfortable with these changes, however they make a lot of sense when looking back at their previous designs. Sork boots, Ionian, and Mercury treads used to all have this cyan sheen to them, making them all blend together into one indistinguishable abootmination. However, Mercury treads are now the winner of the cyan boots battle, leaving Sork boots with a green and purplish design, Ionian boots with a red and teal color scheme, and tabbies replaced altogether with a silver and red armored look. This makes more sense anyways, as ninjas aren't really tanky characters, well except Shen, but Shen players can go die. All of the starter items stand out wonderfully against their dark backgrounds and fit perfectly into their frames. Excellent design here, I have no complaints. All of the basic items are simple in design but are easy to read. The only complaints I have are the long sword, BF sword, and needlessly large rod, whose designs force them out of their frames. This problem, although relatively minor in these cases, worsened dramatically with more detailed items. This pool of items is where dark backgrounds begin to become abandoned for more stylish but distractingly glowy backdrops. Although these may bump up an item's style, they harm readability to a varying degree. Examples where this is done well include Oblivion Orb, Hextech Alternator, and Hex Drinker. These items have one distinct color and then another color for their glow, which makes them stand out, even within their own frame. On the other hand, items such as Phage, which barely fits in its own frame, and Glacial Buckler, whose glow and item coloring are basically the same, suffer as a result. Perhaps the worst perpetrator in this category is Winged Moonplate, which needs a dark, nameless character to model for it, or else you wouldn't even be able to tell what it is. Granted, this is also done for Deadman's and Horizon Focus, but I would argue it's more eloquent in these cases. From this category onward, the items listed have gone from uninteresting components to recognizable artifacts, so instead of discussing them broadly, I'm going to quickly run through each of them. Yeah, so as it turns out, individually talking about each and every item in League of Legends takes forever. So I'm going to just give you the highlights instead. Mei Ai's phone book has a nice contrast and looks fine. Chemtech Putrifier looks like a gun, a knife, and nothing all at the same time. Also, its name sounds disgusting and is cringe and is hard to write. I'm not convinced this item actually exists in-game. Zeke's Convergence looks like an icon for a cash grab Chinese mobile game and doesn't flow well with the rest of the items or icons in the game. Thornmail is perfect, actually. Short name, clear design, tells you what it does in its name, it's perfect, actually. GA barely fits in its frame and is abundantly yellow. On the contrary, Guinsoo's fits in frame and looks good doing it. Edge of Night is a cloak with blades attached to it, which is truly genius, and the icon is more purple than whatever the fuck Lulu eats on a regular basis, so that's cool. Force of Nature is back, and it looks like the normal Daniel to Spirit Visage's cooler Daniel. Dead Man's Plate once again features unknown dark figure, but pulls off its design rather nicely. Lich Bane looks awesome, and stands out more than any other item. Best item, 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 best item. Cosmic Drive sounds like an invention straight from a Jimmy Neutron brain blast. Cosmic Crown or Cosmic Diadem would actually tell you what the item is in its name. The Collector is a fucking gun. That alone makes it stand out. However, I'd rename it something like Collector's Piece to get rid of the in its name, and because it doesn't sound like shit. Wit's End looks like a ladle with a blade handle, and it woefully needs a redesign. Navori Quickblades is a stupid name, however, at least its design is unique. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the worst fucking item name in League of Legends goes to... Zelda's Grudge! What a fucking terrible word! In all seriousness, because of this item's striking similarities to Rylai's and its slowing effect, a name like Fang of Frostbite would be much more fitting. And lastly, the Sorting Hat from Harry Potter. Great colors, unique style, and actually sorts you into the right house. Excellent. Last and somewhat least are the mythic items, all of which are actually slightly animated and glow and waver a little bit, which is neat. However, unlike the legendary items where I can still name most of them from memory, most of the mythic items are completely new or have been slightly renamed, as to throw off longtime players and provide a more edgy, vague terminology that is ultimately meaningless. That being said, get ready for some cringe, garbage names for items. Starting off with Serylda's Battle Song is hard to spell and is a stupid name. Also, its color scheme is shared with two other tanky mythic items, which is annoying. Thankfully, Locket has the same name, but its icon is overwhelmingly bright and yellow. In fact, I'm convinced that looking at this icon for prolonged periods of time may cause blindness. I have no fucking clue what Imperial Mandate is supposed to be. It just looks like a shape you would give a baby to push into a block. Also, the item color blends into the background, making its overall design forgettable. Moonstone Renewer can't fit its fat ass into the small icon space it was given, but otherwise it has a nice, distinct color scheme. What the fuck is Riftmaker? I have no clue what this item is supposed to be. Just... okay. Turbo Cum Tank looks like Urgot's driver's license. Why can you purchase this? Eclipse is a stupid-ass name, though its visuals make it stand out at least. Just rename it like Blade of the Eclipse or something, for the love of God. Divine Sundowner looks like a rolled-up caterpillar on a twig. I think it's supposed to be another mace, but it sure isn't convincing me. Thank God for Triforce. It's the same. Awesome. Great. Leandri's Anguish. What an esoteric name for a fucking clown mask. I don't know what was wrong with the word torment, but if you're gonna change the name, why not call it a mask? Or at least something along those lines. Leandri's Gaze? Anything? Gay Force stands out from the other mythic items, and it looks alright. However, it's got a one-word name. Gale Force Longbow? I don't know. Lastly, Immortal Shieldbow. Disregarding the utter stupidity of this weapon's design, its colors and name are at least okay. Alright, that's enough talking about items for a good couple months. In summation, League's art design team has honestly done a good job at freshening things up visually for the game. The starting and component items look excellent, and even though some of the mythic and legendaries look less distinct and kind of blurry, it's at least a fresh change of pace, you know? That being said, whoever is designing the names for these items needs to kick bricks, because some of these names are just downright awful. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed, and take care.